Well, we are worried about China.
That wasn't my concern.
China's malign influence in Panama.
I was concerned with us
China has
saying
control of
that
the
using
ports
military
or malign
force to
influence
take another
over the
sovereign
Panama,
country's territory.
We should pay attention to that.
Right.
So Panama is very key terrain that we've focused on, and we've been willing to focus
So we
on,
should
as
take it,
is Greenland.
we should take it by military force. They're important. I'm not going to argue with that.
The Arctic is
I'm
incredibly
arguing with
important.
using our military to take it by force.
Our job at the DOD is to have plans. And
do you have a plan for that?
Our job at the Defense Department is to have plans for any particular contingency.
Including the contingency of basically
any
invading
contingency
Denmark.
you need.
During a combative House Armed Services Committee hearing, Ranking Member Adam Smith didn't just challenge the Pentagon's budget. He blew the lid off a stunning discussion regarding the use of military force to take control of sovereign foreign territories. What started as a technical debate over troop funding and border infrastructure instantly spiraled into a jaw-dropping confrontation when Smith asked point-blank if the United States has active operational plans to invade Greenland and Panama.
Recognize the ranking member.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on the budget point, I made this point before the committee before. The House just passed a budget that adds nearly $3 trillion to an already out-of-control debt. So if we do really want to spend money on defense or anywhere else, we got to be willing to pay for it. And I certainly go back through generations of, bipartisan problems with this. You can't have a debt that size and keep coming back talking about how much money you're going to spend, whether it's defense or whatever your priorities are. And Mr. Secretary, you said the 99% down on border crossings and the border is secure. At the same time, we're going to take $1 billion out of the MILCON budget, out of building barracks, to send it for the border, and there's another 4,000 troops that we're planning on sending down to the border. Given that the border is secure, might you rethink that spending?
Well, sir, we are securing it. It is secure, but it's a manpower-intensive effort at the beginning.
Two different words there. It's either secure or secure, and it sounded to me like you said it was secure.
It is secure.
Okay.
What we're continuing to do is expand that and fortify it through infrastructure, which is a big part of the budget on the Department of Homeland Security side as well. So it's that $1 billion you're talking about was from the CR in FY25. We fully fund that back and more in FY26 with a recognition that we were dealing with the world as it existed when we came in. And the previous administration said they needed new legislation to secure the border. It turns out you just needed a new president.
I would point out
president with the Defense Department and DHS that was willing to go to the border and actually secure it, which is what
not submitted a budget yet. So whether or not you're putting that money back in remains to be seen. You have definitely taken it out. And I think the obsession there, and I don't disagree, the border needed to be secure. But from a pure budget standpoint, let's just not keep the political focus on that. Let's make sure that we're funding some of the other priorities that we have. So when it comes back to acquisition reform, and the chairman's point, it's our committee, certainly Congress is part of the problem. We set up a lot of requirements. Defense contractors are part of the problem. I'm curious, how would you get after reforming the culture at the Pentagon so that you can move faster, number one, and number two, how would you get after the defense contractors that push the requirements process? And specifically, what would you do about the requirements process to try to speed things up? Well,
first of all, I think gold plating is a real problem. Sir, I mean, across the department.
Interesting to use the word gold in this particular context, but yes, I agree with you, actually.
We maybe could use a little bit more silver plating on occasion. A recognition that the 99% solution is oftentimes the enemy of the 85% solution that delivers 2 years sooner. And that's contractors and other companies wanting to do right, but trying to do too much and overpromise, and then they're under-delivering, and the warfighters...
Not always wanting to do right. In some cases, just
not always.
Just wanting to make money, but yes.
The change is also in acquisitions about people. You need reformers in these positions. I'm here to be a disruptor of those processes. Our deputy secretary has extensive business experience. The types of people we're bringing in as undersecretaries have been disruptors and innovators in the private sector who recognize that bureaucracy can be dysfunctional and needs to be disrupted. So it's taking outside-the-box unique approaches. I mean, virtual design is a big example. How many times are we going to build something physically that takes a year to build when you could use AI and computing power, design it virtually, identify the flaws and move more quickly, or create open architecture so you can.
Our committee stands ready to work with you.
I mean, there's 500 different things we can do, and we're doing them.
Yeah, and I'm sincerely concerned about this. Is it the policy of the Department of Defense that we need to be prepared to take Greenland and Panama by force if necessary? Is this a policy that you have within the Department of Defense in accordance with the President's wishes?
I heard what you said about those two countries and saying we need to worry about China. Well, we are worried about China.
That wasn't my concern.
China's malign influence in Panama.
I was concerned with us saying that using military force to take another sovereign country's territory.
We should pay attention to that.
Right.
So Panama is very key terrain that we've focused on, and we've been willing to focus on, as is Greenland.
We should take it by military force. They're important. I'm not going to argue with that.
The Arctic is
I'm
incredibly
arguing with
important.
using our military to take it by force.
Our job at the DoD is to have plans.
Do you have a plan for that?
Our job at the Defense Department is to have plans for any particular contingency.
Including the contingency of basically
Any
invading
contingency
Denmark.
you need, we've got it. We've got a building full of planners, and we're prepared to give recommendations whenever needed.
So just be clear, you have plans to take Panama and Greenland by force if necessary.
I think the American people would want the Pentagon to have plans for any particular contingency.
Not
and
for that.
Thankfully, we are in the planning business.
Speaking on behalf of the American people, I don't think the American people voted for President Trump because they were hoping we would invade Greenland. I'm going to go out on a limb on that one. I yield back.
In a fierce, high-retention sequence, Smith systematically stripped away the corporate buzzwords and bureaucratic defense mechanisms to expose the true, aggressive nature of current executive strategy. Let's look closely at the exact moment this routine oversight hearing turned into an absolute blockbuster confrontation. The confrontation ignited instantly when Congressman Smith challenged the Defense Secretary over a plan to divert $1 billion away from critical military construction, such as building quality barracks for American troops, to fund additional border security operations. Smith exposed a massive logical contradiction, noting that Hegseth simultaneously claimed border crossings were down 99% and completely secure, yet was still deploying 4,000 extra troops to the region. Hegseth attempted a complex semantic deflection, claiming there was a difference between a border that is currently secure and the continuous, intensive manpower required to maintain that state. Smith immediately cut through the talking points, firing back that the administration was actively stripping funds from the military before even submitting a formal budget to Congress. The tension escalated rapidly as Smith shifted the focus to the slow pace of Pentagon acquisitions and corporate culture, mockingly turning Hegseth's own buzzwords against him after the secretary claimed he was appointed to act as an external disruptor to reform gold-plated defense contracts. The hearing reached an absolute climax when Smith pivoted completely from the domestic budget to drop an explosive line of questioning regarding the administration's hidden international agenda. Smith directly confronted Hegseth over whether it is the official policy of the Department of Defense to be prepared to take Greenland and Panama by force if necessary. Hegseth immediately stumbled, attempting to redirect the conversation toward counteracting Chinese influence in strategic shipping lanes and the Arctic region. Smith refused to let the evasion stand, cutting through the crosstalk to clarify that his concern was not about monitoring foreign adversaries, but about the United States using raw military force to seize another sovereign nation's territory. Cornered by the direct question, Hegseth offered a stunning defense, repeatedly asserting that the Pentagon is fundamentally in the planning business and possesses a building full of planners ready to prepare options for any potential contingency. Smith delivered a devastating final assessment to close the session, telling the secretary directly that the American people absolutely did not cast their ballots hoping for a military invasion of Greenland, leaving the chamber in complete silence as his time expired. Representative Adam Smith delivered an absolute masterclass in holding executive leadership accountable to the true boundaries of national defense and global law. When a lawmaker completely cuts through institutional double-talk to reveal that plans for forced territorial expansion are actively sitting on a Pentagon desk, it changes a standard legislative review into a profound debate over foreign policy overreach. What do you think about Adam Smith completely trapping the Defense Secretary over these hidden invasion contingencies? Do you believe Smith successfully exposed the dangerous and reckless geopolitical mindset? Or do you think it is the legitimate job of the military to prepare for every extreme global scenario? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.